RSS General Secretary Dattatreya Hosabale said the cat among the pigeons when he spoke on the issue of Mathura and Kashi. Questions have been asked of RSS on Mathura and Kashi in past too. Bhagwat's comment on this has been seen as a definitive when he said that some people should not try to become leaders by taking up temple issues. But Dattatreya Hosabale's statement has recast the entire debate. Let me quote him. He said, Sangh would have no objection if its members participated in campaigns for Krishna Janambhoomi and Kashi Vishwanath temples in Mathura and Varanasi. However, avoid large-scale reclamation efforts targeting all mosques to avoid societal discords. Now let us recall what Mohan Bhagwat has said. In 2024, Mohan Bhagwat had disapproved of Hindu representatives raking up Ram temple-like disputes. After the Supreme Court verdict on Ram Janambhoomi Babri Masjid case, Bhagwat had ruled out taking the movement to Kashi and Mathura. He said Sangh doesn't get involved in any movement, which is Andolan. We work towards character building. Bhaiyaji Joshi said that Aurangzeb's issue is being unnecessarily raked up. So the big question here is the RSS going back from its position of not getting involved in other temple movements? Second, is RSS ceding ground to hardline pressure and populist view? Third, is it back to the slogan popular during to the temple movement, Ayodhya abhi jhanki hai, Mathura Kashi baki hai? Because fact of the matter is that RSS Hosabale is muddying a clear position taken by his senior Mohan Bhagwat. Hosabale's remark that RSS members in personal capacity can engage with movements to reclaim temples is in stark contrast to Bhagwat's call to not to go looking for temples beneath every mosque. Now, should the history be litigated? Let me remind that in its 2019 Ayodhya judgment, Supreme Court said history and its wrong should not be used to oppress the present and the future. In 2021, Supreme Court allowed challenge to it the validity of the places of worship, Special Provisions Act maintained religious character of sites as it existed in 1947 with Ram Janambhoomi dispute, the sole exception. This led to attempts to reclaim shrines. Violence in Sambhal spurred SC's stay on surveys of such perceived disputes. Fifth, it's dangerous to entertain grievances over acts that are centuries old and against which Parliament has passed a legislation. The matter should be settled once for all. I'm joined by Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author and a serious senior journalist who understands the entire RSS and BJP ecosystem. Sir, let me come straight to you. How do we interpret these different statements from three different important people of RSS Parivar?
You know, if you look at the entire Ram Janmabhoomi agitation in its totality, right from the mid-1980s, 1983, 84, to be very precise, you know, the movement was started when Indira Gandhi was still the Prime Minister. They were supposed to have a high point and come and submit a memorandum to her. When she got assassinated the next morning, the agitation went into cold storage. And thereafter, when Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister, the Shahabano matter gave the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the RSS an opportunity to rake up the Ayodhya issue once again. From that time onwards, we can actually talk endlessly the number of times, you know, where various leaders have spoken in various words. This is basically to confuse the people, not really being knowing that what is the actual line of the RSS or the Sangh Parivar. We have had the VHP leaders talking at various points in a very, extreme right, right-wing viewpoint has been expressed by the leaders of the early Bajrang Dal and Vishwa Hindu Parishad, like Vinay Katiyar and others, and they were moderates, and there were various other kinds of people, you know, that is there. So the same kind of thing is there. I think that we must recognize the fact that the BJP today is the most important political party, having the maximum number of Lok Sabha seats, being the natural party of governance for the last 10 years plus. And the Sangh Parivar, generally speaking, is in a center of dominance in the entire country. This is primarily because of the entire Ram Janmabhoomi agitation, which is not restricted to the construction of the Ram temple in Ayodhya, but also involved, as you rightly said, the slogan Mathura Kashi baki hai. So it was essentially the three temples which are picked up. The prioritization was of Ayodhya. Now that the temple has been built, it's just a matter of time that the RSS is supposed to somehow or the other going to be raking up the issues of Varanasi and Mathura, both of which are in fairly advanced stages as far as the judicial proceedings are going on. So if that agitation, from the judiciary's point of view, if there is no major development, if it is does not really provide them with an opportunity to construct a temple and demolish the existing shrines, then there is going to be a public agitation, and that is what the preparation is being done.
Mr. Mukhopadhyay, do you think that RSS is responding to popular pressure? Because if you recall, when Mohan Bhagwat took that position, the people who sympathize with RSS and BJP on Twitter and social media, they actually trolled him. And he was trolled by those very sympathizers, and this was a first that, you had the top RSS leader being trolled by its own sympathizers. Do you think it has come in response to that?
No, I think, this entire thing of trying to say that, now there is a fringe force to the RSS and the BJP, this is actually slightly misleading. I think everybody is fringe, everybody is mainstream. It's just that what suits them at various points, At that point, I think it suited for somebody like Mr. Mohan Bhagwat wanting to appear more reasonable, saying that don't go around digging for looking for temples beneath every mosque. That was the message which was being sent. But then definitely saying there is local pressure. It is not that anything was against it. Maybe the trolling is all artificially created, or maybe there can be some,
But Mr. Mukhopadhyay, a lot of people would like to know from you, how do you explain that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra takes a very strong position on Aurangzeb, Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh takes a very strong position on the temple issue, but the RSS leaders, appear very soft on this issue. How do you explain this? Because this is happening in public domain. These are not private conversations I am quoting.
When a Devendra Fadnavis takes a hard line on the issue of Aurangzeb and then immediately qualifies that, okay, but I still cannot do as Chief Minister, I am supposed to protect the monument because it is under the protection of the Archaeological Survey of India. It is generally actually a message to the people, look, that there is a lot of public pressure since the Chief Minister is supposed to, in some way or the other, represent the people's viewpoint. That is why it is being articulated. But the point is that despite that being said, the RSS is trying to, say that this is not the most important thing. There are various other ways that you have to look at Aurangzeb. After all, you have to accept the fact that Aurangzeb's grave being there in the Maratha kingdom, within the Maratha domain, is actually a proof that Aurangzeb could not come, vanquish the Marathas and return back to Delhi. So it is actually, his grave here is actually a symbol of our, victory. So those are the kind of arguments which are there.
So please explain, how do you explain Dattatreya Hosabole's interview to a South Indian magazine that workers in their personal capacities can actually be part of the movement, but ensure that it does not lead to societal friction? Can you put that in perspective? Because when he says it, it means something.
No, first of all, I think, this particular magazine is actually part of the Sangh Parivar. It's part of the, the general ecosystem of the Sangh Parivar that brings out this magazine. So it is actually talking to their own people, explaining things. And it's definitely saying that if the need be to join a movement for Kashi and Mathura, please do go and join. But they do not want it to immediately become a agitation cross-country over 30,000 or 3,000, or we do not know what is the real number of mosques which they want converted into temples. They talk about all kinds of numbers are mentioned. So they want some kind of restraint, maybe in a more calibrated manner. There is already a problem that you have there in Sambhal. It has already taken quite a bit of movement. The movement has gathered quite a bit of ground, and Yogi Adityanath is actually pressing the accelerator on Sambhal because he has his eyes on the 2027 assembly elections, and he would not lose out to anybody, to the people of Uttar Pradesh, as well as to even forces within the Sangh Parivar.
And my last question to you, do you think in future Can we expect RSS to adopt both these movements?
I think so. They are already part of that movement. It is not a question of RSS does not
Officially.
go rank
Officially.
and file. Everybody is an RSS who's part of the Sangh Parivar. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the Bajrang Dal, they're all part of it. There is no one who can be said to be solely a member of the RSS because the RSS is not a membership organization that way. There might not be an executive resolution of the RSS, but definitely the people who are wedded to the idea of the RSS are very much going to be part of this movement in the times to come.